Just had to come out here and talk about Nurse's Hotel. I didn't even do nothing. I just washed my hair, come out. So, pardon the way I look. I'm on an assignment, and I want to talk about travel nursing and housing and transportation and everything else, guarantee hours. I may add that, I'm not sure yet. So when you hear that nurses say, oh, they put me up in a lovely hotel, or backtrack, they give me a furnished apartment, lovely, sweet, penthouse. Really? How much is your salary? Trust me. Stay tuned. You might want to hear this about nurses' hotels. Where they're getting these apartments. Maybe I've never stayed in a furnished apartment. I understand that some agency give the nurses, the travel nurse, an apartment. But from what I understand is you have to pay the cable bill, you have to pay some utility. It's not all that free, and you may get a bed and may get everything in it. Some people put you up into an extended stay concept hotel where you have a kitchenette and place that you can cook. That's okay too. I've never stayed in, I think this is the first one I've stayed at. This one has a semi kitchenette. Anyway, you know what? What I'm hearing, that the people that get these nice apartment, these penthouse, their salary is like $20 or $18, $17 an hour, $16 an hour for RN. They get this nice apartment. Everything is included. Everything, they by the lake or they next to the beach. And I guess those type of nurse prefer luxury and no money or to pay the bill. I'm not knocking them because I like nice place to lay my head. But what I find that, and it's, to me, here we go again with this disrespect. I was working on this assignment, right? And travel and housing, you usually, when you get an assignment, you get your housing from the housing and transportation side of the agency. So I often get annoyed and I would call them up. Why do you put me so far away from the hospital? And I don't know if it is, and I think it is, the cheaper place they put you in, it's more money in their pocket. And it's costly for the nurse. So the salary that they say they're giving you, the big salary that they claim they're giving you, you're taking Uber and Lyft every day. And that runs up to, depending on, I'm in a travel assignment right now. And every morning I have to take a taxi, and it costs me like $20 a day one way. So that's $40 a day, travel back and forth. And I was a little annoyed again, and I called the house and said, why would you put me such a far place? Well, I didn't know how far the hospital, I didn't know which hospital you're going to work. Whereas the other agency, not the one I'm working for, the other agency put their nurse in a location where there's transportation closest to the same hospital I'm going to, and everything is around there, food, everything. And here I am in a place where middle of Zululand, nowhere to be found. Down the street is where the what should I say? Where you want your paraphernalia, your midnight play toys, down the street from the hotel. And so it's always busy, those creepy people, creepy men when you walk into the hotel. I don't like situation like that. And I feel like housing and traveling should do a little better. You want the nurse to be in a safe place. You want them to have a restful sleep. They don't care. Back to the disrespect. They don't care. You make money for them and that's it. And that goes to a lot of nurses. We put up with this. We tolerate this. When I came home last night, and I'm saying home because I'm temporarily placed here. I'm not going to say the location. I'm not going to say where I am, but I'm temporary here. When I came back from work and I opened the door and water was coming out all over the floor, from the toilet to the mini kitchenette, which no food is in there. I have to buy food downstairs in the hotel, so you know the price. Because there's nothing around here. But they doing me a favor, putting me by myself. So that's a big favor. And I appreciate that. But Dawn, do a little better. So anyway, I'm telling the story. So water was coming from the toilet. I got home, I opened the door, water greet me. I went downstairs and I said, oh, you're going to have to move me. So they moved me up here. It's a little better, but let me tell you, the shower, they need to change the shower. The water is just trickling slowly. The toilet, I'm scared to flush it because I don't want nothing to happen. It's just slow. Everything is slow. These are the places they put you in. It's not the first. And they got the nerve to tell me I was going to share. But I guess they got smart. They said, oh, we putting them nowhere, so we might as well let them feel like they have something because they by themselves. And I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm just feel like some of the things that, and somebody made me understand this, and I didn't realize this. The bigger the corporation is that you're working for, the more overhead they have, and they're going to skimp. And who do they skimp on? The nurses. The nurses. All the time. The nurses get hit. People in administration, they're not really nurse. They don't care. So they know the nurses are desperate. They know the nurses don't stick together. They know the nurses will take anything. And they do dish it out. By putting you in a kitchenette, they can say they provide a place for you so you can cook and eat. Nurses talk. The other agency put their staff in a central location and give them a stipend so that they could buy food or whatever. So the moral of this story is you have to work for people that's going to treat you with respect. And so I had enough. I just had enough with these agency that's just taking us for a ride. That's basically. So I don't know where. I've never stayed in a furnished apartment. I've never stayed on the lake. I've never stayed on the beach resort. I've never had a penthouse provided by my travel agency. I'm always in a situation where I'm in the hotel that say Lodge or those funny names. I don't want to say it. You know, when people go to motel, what do they go there for? Those type of places I have been staying, and I don't like it. Sometimes I'm a little fed up, and I go pay for my hotel myself. That's it. But at this point, I guess I just experience about housing and all that money that they say they give you. The agency that I work for, I've never gotten a stipend. Never. I don't even know what that is. Maybe I need to explore other agency. Maybe that's it. So I'm sitting here in this hotel and wondering, you know, when you're loyal to someone, when you're loyal to a corporation, and every time they just treat you like you're a commodity, it hurts. But in order for this to work, we have to come together, nurse. We cannot tolerate all the things that, I don't know. Travel, nurse, hotel. That's what it is. Travel nurse, hotel, travel nurse, motel, whatever you want to call it. I just wish, I don't know, the travel nurse hotels. Some people say, why don't you get your own? Now, talking about travel nurse hotel, you might say, why don't I get my own? Why don't I look for my own house? And some people use Airbnb, but I don't feel like that. I don't feel I should. Let me tell you, I did Airbnb before. And the first place I was in, I was in Boston. I did Airbnb. I say, okay, let me see what it is. What the motel that they put me in, or I should say, the nurse hotel that they put me in. So I wanted to do Airbnb for the first time, and the first place that I went in, it was in a man house. And he had all these dogs, and it was, yeah. I mean, I like dogs. I have a dog myself, but I don't want to smell the dog. It was so much. He not only did he have dogs, he had cats, and he had other animals. So I didn't stay there. Then I went to a lady house. It's cold in Boston. I mean, when I say it's cold, snow is outside. And she's worried about, oh, first of all, going up on the steps, it was shaky. So that was a red flag for me. Then when I get in the room was nice and everything, but it was cold. Cold. And then she worried, don't forget, turn off the heat. She had the heat on timer. And it's like 2 degrees outside. So she was more concerned about that and watched me like a hawk, like I was going to steal the stale food that she put out for me. First of all, I don't eat people food. And I sure is not going to take the cornflake if it's belonged to you. That's not me. I didn't stay there either. So I went to this guy house in Boston. It was in a it was in a rough, I wouldn't say it was in a rough neighborhood. It was across the street from the the burial ground. Right out the window you see all these what they call them? People that bury in the lot. But inside his house was beautiful. First thing I noticed when I got in there was liquor everywhere. Liquor, all sorts of liquor. I said, oh my God. And it was nice for a while. I stayed at his house. It was like an upgrade for me because it was clean, spick and span. This is a bachelor. And then I guess they didn't know he didn't know I was there. He had that midnight rendezvous with his girlfriend. That was very uncomfortable. I was glad to go home. So Airbnb is not for me. I would rather them not be in the house. And what else did I do? I tried several things. So you might hear people say, well, why don't you, Patrice, why don't you find your own housing? They give you more stipend. Well, this particular agency I work for never gave me no stipend when I tried. And matter of fact, I don't even tell them when I go into my resident inn or go places that I know that the bed is, I can get some rest and I don't have to worry. I'm not itching and whatever. And I don't feel like I should look for my own housing. No, I don't know the place. Just like housing and transportation, that's what they there for. But the same way they don't know the place, I don't know the place. One time, I believe in Pennsylvania, they was going to put me, but I knew Pennsylvania now. But where they were going to put me, it was like close to the hospital, but I didn't want to stay there. So I make a suggestion. I want to stay at the Marriott. I'm sorry. Way away from where you was going to put me. It will be boom, 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 gunshot every night. No way. I wasn't going to stay there. But I know that location. And I was able to tell them. But other than that, if you place me in Alaska, Hawaii, wherever you placing me, I don't know the place. And I feel like transportation, housing and transportation should make it a mission to keep the nurse safe. Put the nurse in a clean atmosphere, a location where she's comfortable because she's making money for you guys. But they don't think like that. No, these are desperate women. Nurses are, because the majority of us are women. So you're going to place them in those type of nurse hotel. And it's nothing we can say unless we are strong enough to come together. That's what people are going to say. Well, why are you traveling then? Why are you tolerating it? Because they give you big bucks? We're getting older, nurses. Gotta start looking out for ourselves.